Okay, I'm gonna make a prediction as of today, whatever day you're watching this video. The Boeing company as we know it will cease to exist before the end of this decade. And not only that, I think it's a real possibility that the 777X is the last new commercial aircraft the Boeing company will ever make. What do you think? Let me know down below. Okay, let's go.
You are watching Maximus Aviation.
Okay, get comfortable because I have so much Boeing news to tell you I don't even know where to begin. Should we start with Boeing's board shutting down its shareholders' bid to move its headquarters back to Seattle so they can concentrate on saving the company? Or how about the FAA giving Boeing 90 days to fix their deep running quality control issues? Or how about the DOJ examining whether the January 5th Alaska blowout incident falls under the government's 2021 deferred prosecution agreement over its two previous fatal MAX crashes? Or finally, an FAA panel finds Boeing's safety culture needs to be overhauled. Well, let's just knock down these bowling pins of bad news one at a time. Starting of all places, and I can't believe I'm actually saying this out loud, but with a few paragraphs from NPR. This is from NPR writer Joel Rose. When Captain Dennis Taylor gets ready to fly a Boeing 737 MAX jet, he brings along something he doesn't need on any other plane. Post-it notes and a marker. That's how Taylor reminds himself to turn off the engine anti-icing system. If he forgets and leaves the anti-icing system running for more than 5 minutes during dry conditions, the consequences could be catastrophic. The engine could overheat, fail, and come apart. Taylor, a veteran pilot for American Airlines and spokesman for the union that represents its pilots, says that's pretty ominous. To be clear, he insists he can fly the plane safely despite the design flaw in the anti-icing system. He does it all the time. But he's lost patience with Boeing. Right now, we the pilots just don't trust them, Taylor said. Because every time something pops up, we learn that it has tangled roots deep down into the dysfunction of Boeing. Okay, so I wanted to lead with that because if Boeing MAX pilots feel the same way we do as passengers, then frankly none of us are safe. Okay, so that leads us to our first story. In a harshly worded statement released Wednesday, February 28, the FAA said that it has given Boeing 90 days to come up with a comprehensive action plan to address its systematic quality control issues. New FAA Administrator Mike Whitaker laid out the ultimatum to Boeing CEO Dave Calhoun and his senior safety team at an all-day meeting Tuesday, February 27 at FAA headquarters in Washington, D.C. After the meeting, Whitaker spoke to the press saying Boeing must commit to real and profound improvements. He added making foundational change will require a sustained effort from Boeing's leadership, and we're going to hold them accountable every step of the way with mutually understood milestones and expectations. The FAA said the plan to fix the quality problems must take account of both the forthcoming results of an ongoing FAA production line audit and the findings released Tuesday in an expert review panel report commissioned by the FAA. The plan must also include steps Boeing's will to mature its safety management system, a formal safety program Boeing committed to implement in 2019. And the FAA said Boeing must integrate this program with its quality management system to ensure the same level of rigor and oversight is applied to the company's suppliers. The goal, the FAA said, is to create a measurable, systematic shift in manufacturing quality control. Whitaker went on to say that Boeing must take a fresh look at every aspect of their quality control process and ensure that safety is the company's guiding principle. The strong language in the FAA release suggests Whitaker has little to no patience left after a litany of quality control problems at Boeing. So of course this 90-day warning from the FAA is a direct result of the latest incident on the plane I affectionately refer to as the Frankenmax, because it really is a monster. But Ed Pearson, a former senior manager at the Boeing MAX factory in Renton, says it's not just a story about the latest near disaster of the missing bolts. Back in 2018, before the two MAX crashes that killed 346 people, Pearson tried to get Boeing to halt production of the MAX because of what Pearson saw as problems in every stage of the plane's development. He saw the disaster coming. Pearson said that from the beginning to the end it's been rushed, including the plane's design, certification, and production. When you're putting people under that kind of pressure, they make mistakes, he said. However, that is just one Boeing storyline from this week, because meanwhile, the U.S. Department of Justice is scrutinizing the Mid-Air Alaska Airlines blowout in a move that could expose Boeing once again to criminal prosecution. The DOJ is examining whether the January 5 incident falls under the government's 2021 deferred prosecution agreement with Boeing over 2 previous fatal crashes of the MAX. However, if prosecutors do determine that Flight 1282's door plug blowout constitute a breach of the agreement, the Justice Department's review is being handled by the fraud section along with the U.S. Attorney's Office in Seattle, which is near the company's Renton production facility. Well, as you can imagine, this constant turmoil surrounding Boeing and its Franken Max has its shareholders around the world rightly worried about the future of their investment in the company. This week, Boeing's board has killed a long-shot shareholder proposal that the company move its headquarters back to Seattle. The proposal was put forward by 83-year-old Walter Ryan, a retired Chicago business owner and stock market investor who owns 10,000 shares in the company. But a Securities and Exchange Commission ruling last week means shareholders won't get to vote on his proposal, because with SEC approval, Boeing's board won't be putting it on the ballot. Stockholder Ryan said it's a shame that they took a company that was a first-class operation and drove it into the ground. In a statement supporting his proposal, Ryan said that Boeing became an industry leader in commercial aviation because of the close working relationship between manufacturing, engineering, and management. He added that the most significant factor in the company's decline was relocating Boeing's headquarters from Seattle and separating executives from Boeing's core commercial manufacturing business. He said that returning the headquarters to Seattle will send a meaningful signal Boeing credibly intends to resume its position at the top of the commercial airplane business, restore its reputation for safety and excellence, and is committed to fixing its problems. But Boeing's miserable February week all began with the FAA's damning Monday, February 26 report that said Boeing's push to improve its safety culture has not taken hold at all levels of the company and needs substantial upgrades to meet legal standards consistent with the public interest in aviation safety. The report was commissioned in the prolonged fallout from the 2 deadly MAX crashes caused primarily by the flawed design of the MCAS system, the existence of which Boeing hid from the FAA during certification of the jet. The FAA-appointed panel focused particularly on how Boeing manages engineering employees who conduct internal oversight on behalf of the FAA, work that is delegated to Boeing by the safety agency. The report directs Boeing within the next 6 months to develop an action plan that includes a milestone-based approach that comprehensively addresses each recommendation. The panel found a major concern that experienced personnel are leaving and not being replaced, and efforts to retain them are not effective or timely at Boeing, and that a similar drain of engineering experience exists within the FAA as well. The report recommends enhanced retention and workforce hiring. Another finding is that Boeing, in the years before the 2 fatal MAX crashes in 2018 and 2019, gutted its engineering unit focused on human factors. The role of human factors and its influence eroded due to a series of administrative decisions at Boeing, which included reorganization, decentralization, downsizing, and relocating the company's headquarters, the report states. And that's just scratching the surface of one of the worst weeks in Boeing's history yet again. And finally, to sum up Boeing's disaster week at the end of February 2024, in a recent revelation that has sent shockwaves throughout the aviation industry, esteemed analyst Richard Abulifa expressed his disbelief at the series of daunting challenges Boeing has faced, stating, "I've never seen anything like it." He said the company, once synonymous with aerial supremacy, now grapples with a cascade of issues that have not only tarnished its reputation, but have also put its very future at stake. And what I found most shocking of all from Abulifa is his belief that Boeing has no plans, in his opinion, over the next 20 years or more of producing any new aircraft, which will leave Airbus the sole leader in the world, literally, of commercial aviation. And this brings me back to my original point I began this video with. I think Boeing commercial airplanes, while maintaining legacy aircraft with its last, greatest variant of the 777X, has made its last commercial passenger aircraft. And I also think the Boeing board is happy with that, because they have a backup plan and a cash cow in the United States government defense contracts. It's like having an ATM machine with unlimited cash. So I think Boeing has reached a point where they either can or just don't want the headache of commercial aviation anymore, and will eventually concentrate solely on US-funded gluttonous defense contracts. And as far as CEO Dave Calhoun, well, he is actually the best CEO Airbus has ever had. Well, that's what I think. How about you? Let me know down below. So until next time, do all that YouTubey stuff. I'd love it if you subscribe and help push us over that 100,000 subscriber mark. And oh yeah, remember, leave the rubber on the runway and your troubles on the ground. And I will see you next time in the air. Yeah, this is Maximus.